Okie dokie, the new Switch 2 Direct is today. But, I mean, come on, we already know everything about the console, we know a bunch of the games, it's no big deal. I'll give it a watch, can play throw together a video on it today.
1 hour later.
Holy roly-coly. That sure was a Nintendo Direct, alright. We learned a lot more than I thought we would. There were some high highs, some low lows, and even some low highs? This hour-long Direct had a lot of information. So much so that I'm actually gonna split this video in half. Today, we're only talking hardware. What we know, what we love, what we hate. It's just the Switch 2 itself and its features today. In the second half, which I guess I'll release tomorrow, we'll talk about all the games coming to the Switch 2. You won't want to miss it, so get subscribed. Speaking of, we hit 1,000 subscribers, baby! Okay, that was a lot for me, but seriously, thank you so much for all the wonderful comments, messages, and engagement on the Animal Crossing video. I do read every single comment I get on every video, which usually isn't something to write home about, but was really special for this last video. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And a special thank you to everyone who subscribed. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you find lots to love in my videos, both those I've already made and those that are on their way. This year is set to be the bestest year of Volcaronite yet, and I'm so glad to have you along for the ride. If you're not subscribed, I really would love it if you'd consider hitting that button. Less than 1% of you are subscribed to the channel, and I'd love to see that percentage get nudged up just a wee little bit, please. If you're liking what I've been doing, I really think that subscribing to the channel will help us both out. Alright, thank you. Now for the good stuff. Here's what we learned about the Nintendo Switch 2. The Switch 2, as you likely know, is the next console from Nintendo. In broad strokes, it really is just a powered-up Switch. It retains all of the same hybrid features, the same general strategy of gaming together wherever you go, and a lot of that same fun-first philosophy. For hardware specifics, it's got a bigger, better screen. The old Switch had an unremarkable 6.2-inch 720p display, whereas this new one has a 7.9-inch 1080p display. It's an LCD, which means it won't have the inky blacks and general contrast of the Switch OLED, but the screen now clocks in at 120 Hz. The new dock has cooling built into it and can output 4K resolution onto a TV, and everything supports HDR. And if all that mumbo jumbo doesn't mean anything to you, then here's the bottom line. The Switch 2 screen will look a lot better than any Switch 1 screens. Like, a lot better. Better lighting, better frame rate, better resolution. It will just look and feel better. The controllers are mostly the same. Aside from the Joy-Cons 2 being bigger, the main new feature is the C button. There was a lot of talk on what this button means. Is it a dual screen button for Wii U and DS games? It turns out it's a chat button. Lots of games will be compatible with in-game voice chat. This is neat, and it's nice to have something built into the Switch, but I really wish this wasn't a proprietary feature of the Switch 2. I mean, remember Miiverse? Of course you don't. Anyway, they showed off in-game voice chatting, screen sharing, which I have to say seemed to be at a remarkably low frame rate, even in the trailer. Is it 1 frame per second? And even video chatting with the new Nintendo Switch 2 camera. It's a camera accessory. Wow. The other major controller feature is something they alluded to in the reveal video back in January: Joy-Con mouse support. They can be used for in-game mouse controls. They showed off a minigame set that used it, as well as mouse controls for Metroid Prime 4, but we'll talk about those games tomorrow. This is actually really cool. It opens up the possibility for lots of new ports and series that we've not had before on console. More PC games can fit easily into the hardware now, and if we don't get a new Pokemon Ranger game that uses the mouse support for drawing rings at some point in the Switch 2's life, I'm gonna riot. The new Pro controllers shown off do have a couple other features. There's an audio jack built right into the controller, hello PlayStation 4, as well as a pair of mappable buttons on the back of the controller. I personally have the Hori split pad Joy-Cons on my Switch for handheld, so I can say with some certainty that this is a really nice feature to have, especially since Nintendo games have not gotten over their fascination with a run button, grumpy gamer noises. But it does also have a C button, and looks like the old Pro controller other than that. Totally fine by me. I think the Pro controller is great. Okay, what else can we talk about before complaining about the price? Oh, there's new Joy-Con wheels, that's pretty sweet. And it'll come with 256 gigs of storage built in, a hearty improvement over the Switch's paltry 32. That's nice, even though now we have to use only a specific type of micro SD card if we want more storage. And, okay, that's really it. We have to talk about the price now. $450 is high, really high for this. I was personally betting on a $400 price point and secretly hoping for $350, pushing down the price of all last-gen Switch consoles by $50 a piece. But that didn't happen. Instead, the Switch 2 is now priced in the same ballpark as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. This is a really rough place to be in for this console. Looking at these numbers, I'm reminded of the launch of the PlayStation 3. Do you remember the PS3's launch? It was the successor to the PlayStation 2, which was, and remains for now, the best-selling console ever. It was bigger, more powerful, with more features, and it had, at the time, a ridiculous price. $500 in 2006 for the base model, $600 for more storage, shoddy backwards compatibility, hardware that made developing new games way more difficult than it had to be, confusing marketing. It was a bad launch. Any of that sound familiar? I'm not saying that the Switch 2 is destined to fail or anything. In fact, I think it has a bright future ahead of it. But Nintendo is not known for making consistently attractive consoles, so I have my doubts. The original Switch was already a difficult platform to develop for since it was so underpowered. The Switch 2 seems to be at least partially patching that up. We saw lots of AAA games from the past few years advertised for the system. Again, we'll talk about those tomorrow. There's probably a lot of reasons for the price increase. It's a more expensive system to manufacture, it's coming into a world where prices are higher, a trend whose horizon shows only signs of acceleration, but there's a cynical part of me that thinks this price point was specifically chosen to not cannibalize sales of the original Switch models without having to drop the prices. The original Switch will become the best-selling console of all time, probably by the end of 2026. The only thing that was really going to stand in its way was, well, the Switch 2. So Nintendo could have either dropped the prices of the original Switch family, or they could do what they did. Make the Switch 2 expensive enough to not really compete with the Switch 1. With a $250 price differential between the cheapest Switch 1 model and the new Switch 2, it seems clear what the priority was. This is a bit sad, and it means that the Switch 2 will not top the Switch 1 sales numbers, ever. Think back to the PlayStation 3 one more time. Remember, it took 2.5 years for Sony to dream up the PlayStation 3 Slim. With a cheaper price, less features, and more focus, it became the PS3 that most people think of today. I think this is exactly what's going to happen with the Switch 2. I don't know if it will be another handheld-only light model or just a similar hybrid version with toned-down hardware, but it does worry me to see the price increase. There's price increases across the board, as a matter of fact. Both controller models are up $10, the new dock is up $50, almost doubling the price. If I gather up all of my Switch hardware to replace with the new stuff, I'm personally looking at an extra $240 to spend. I could just about buy all of my original stuff again and have money left over for an extra console. It's rough out there. But hey, let's finish this off by looking on the bright side. It's coming soon, June 5th. You do have to register to pre-order, so I'll leave that link in the description if you want to do that. Just make sure you have a Nintendo account. Overall, the presentation was mostly positive. I'm looking forward to talking about the games coming to the system. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Until then, if you're looking for something else to watch, you can check out this video on the 10 upcoming games I'm most excited for this year. No Switch 2 exclusives on the list, but I think that there's some good stuff on its way. Or, if you haven't yet, you can check out the Animal Crossing video. It's one of my best videos yet. But that's all I've got for you today, so enjoy your day and take care.